what I was asked to do is to really to close the conference. But before I close the conference, I really just would like to thank the conveners of this great platform. That is the Economic Association of Namibia, NetDB, the Hans Sebo Foundation. So this is really a great platform, I think, for us to really talk about something that has become a buzzword in Namibia. And even more important, when you have got the audience from all various backgrounds. At times when you have a discussion like this, it's either just a government people, you have private sector people, and therefore you actually have people who think alike, and therefore we all agree. So it was great to actually have people from different backgrounds who can also be critical about what it is we're talking about. So that is very, very important. I want to commend you as the convener of this. Now, as I say, green hydrogen has become a buzzword in Namibia. If you ask an average Namibian 17 months ago what green hydrogen is all about, chances are that most of us never had heard about green hydrogen, let alone what it does. And suddenly, fast forward 17 months later, if you ask most Namibians, they will just tell you what it is and what it can be used for. And that just shows you that the speed with which we have worked on this, starting with the launch of our Harambee Prosperity #2 plan, which was launched by the President in March of last year, in which green hydrogen as one of the economic recovery plan we have got in that plan. The speed with which we worked to be where we are today, it's really a demonstration that, you know, when people say where there's a will, there's always a way. And I think we have proven that, yes, it can be done. Some of the things that we all think is impossible, it can be made possible, I think, with the right attitude, with the right people in place. And here we are. So let's also have that conviction that, yes, I think if we want to do something, we can actually do that. Now, as it was alluded to, I think, by both the Prime Minister this morning and the Deputy Minister of Mountain Energy, our ambition really as Namibia is to become, if not a global hub, but at least a continental hub for green hydrogen. And that was made possible simply because, as it was said again, of the ingredients that we have got, either in terms of the wind, in terms of the solar, in terms of the vast land that we have got where you can build these huge assets. So that actually makes us, you know, possible for us to want to do this thing. But I also want to think that, you know, while we have all these ingredients, which you really, really need to have, you cannot really produce green hydrogen if you don't have the solar or the wind, if you don't have land where to put these assets. But while we have these resources, it may be necessary, but probably not very sufficient for us actually to achieve this goal. This is our vision of becoming a global hub for green hydrogen. There might be some other things that we may need to bring on the table. For example, it was also mentioned this morning about collaboration, global collaboration. Without that collaboration, it's going to be impossible for us actually to achieve this goal. This green hydrogen being a product that is going to be used by everyone, it's going to be demanded globally. Now, if you have got a product that is going to be demanded globally, that's going to be used globally, you might as well start off having a global collaboration so that at least we all can agree on what this is all about. For example, what would be the standard of green hydrogen be? Are we going to have a green hydrogen produced in Namibia be separate from the one produced in Saudi Arabia, for example, or the one produced in Chile? Or are we going to have the same product? Who's going to determine what the standard is going to be? So that can only be discovered, that can only be established by having global collaboration to make sure that you're going to end up having a product that all of us can agree to say, yes, this is green hydrogen. What about the transportation standards? What about the regulations? These are all things that you need to have agreed upon globally, so that at least there will be no dispute as to what it is. And that is why, for example, since last year, we have been cultivating global collaboration with our global partners. Now, it was mentioned that, for example, so far we were able to officially agree on official collaboration with the various number of countries, for example, Germany, Belgium, the Netherlands, and also right now we're actually about to conclude an official collaboration agreement with the EU, simply because we realize that only then we are going to be able to reach our ambition of becoming a green hydrogen hub. And in this global collaboration, I think I would really want to particularly single out Germany, the government of Germany, for the financial contribution that they were able to make sure that we reach our goal as quick as possible. And I want to convey our thanks through you, Our Excellency Ambassador, that we are thankful, and then we hope that we continue to have this collaboration to make sure that we become one of the first movers on this one. I think all of you were hopefully in the room when the pilot project were launched yesterday, and the amount of money that we pledged to make sure that that become a reality. And therefore, for that, it's really something we are quite thankful. The other thing we might need, it's a pity, as I was walking in the panel that was discussing the finances, we were just walking off the stage. Financing and therefore investment will be one of the things that we're going to be needing to make sure that this happens. And there is also a risk in that. And the risk is here that this is rather a new industry. And necessarily it has to depend on the private sector investment. Except, that being a new industry, you may find that private sector investment is a little bit hesitant, not really familiar with that, how this can work. And that is a risk that we need to mitigate. Again, we can only mitigate that risk also through global collaboration. For example, where do the global DFIs step in? What role do they play? And we know that this global development financial institution can really play a very critical role in creating some innovative financing instruments that can be used as a de-risking tool for private sector in order for us really to galvanize private sector investment. And therefore, it's an important issue again for collaboration to make sure that the investment that is needed, and as you might have heard, it's not going to be a small amount of money that's needed to invest in these things. It's got to be a huge amount of money. And therefore, for that, again, you need to have global collaboration to make sure that it happens. There was also a mention of the demand. Do we have sufficient demand? And when that question was asked, the Deputy Minister, she simply says, we're going to force people to make sure that they use green hydrogen. Measure ourselves against the demand. The demand certainly is going to be there, but how fast are we going to be able actually to match demand with the time it takes us to do the investment that are needed to meet the demand? And again, that is something also that needs to have some collaboration. So all the ways, collaboration, collaboration, collaborations. Instead of us actually competing with each other. As we know, it's not only Namibia that is going to be producing green hydrogen. There are other countries doing the same thing. We may be in a better position because of the resources that we have, but it does not mean we are the only one. But the last thing we want, especially now that we just started with this national industry, the last thing you want is competition. What you probably really need to have again is collaborations, up to a point where we have really established the industry, and probably obviously the competition steps in. And therefore, we again just going to make sure that at least let's collaborate to make sure then that we are actually all going to establish this industry that can be sustainable globally. Now, so far so good. We are on the way. We are going to have our green hydrogen. We're going to have a hub. And therefore, we are going to be assisting the world to deal with the climate change issue. But however, especially for our visitors, I'm thinking there might be an elephant in the room here, and probably a very big elephant in the room. And that big elephant in the room goes like this. How is it possible that Namibia can embrace both fossil fuel and renewable energy? You all hear about renewable energy, green hydrogen. Now, you know, you might have heard, these guys are also doing fossil fuel. So you're probably asking yourself, is that a contradiction that actually a country can embrace both fossil fuel and renewable energy? Now, our answers goes like this. We do understand and we do accept that climate change is for real. It's not something just people make up. It's for real. We all know of the droughts. We all know of the floods. And climate change has to be addressed. Hence, this green hydrogen project. So we accept that there's an energy transition where fossil fuel energy is no longer going to be the energy of the future. As much as it's not in dispute. But we are also saying that this energy transition has to be a just transition. It has to be a just transition such that in those countries that might still have access to resources, which might not be renewable resources, but resources nevertheless that can actually assist those economies to be in a better position to deal with the energy transition issues. They should be allowed space to be able to do so. In such a way, we cannot all move in the same pace as other countries that might already have been having energy. In fact, as it was said, our problem is not really energy transition as such, but it's energy poverty. We don't have energy at all. And therefore, we do not see any contradiction whatsoever, so we just simply saying, in order for us to provide a livelihood to the Namibians, and also in order for us to be in a better position also to embrace the energy transition, we might have to have a different space at which we are going to actually meet the energy transition issues. I thought I just wanted to say that because you may say, they didn't answer our question. Now, to our potential investors in the room, and I know we do have investors, some we have met individually, some we might not have met you. The message we have for you is simply to say, yes, in us you have a true partner who really want to make this happen. And we commit to work with you to make sure that your investment is going to be an investment, and we'll do everything else to assist you to make sure that that happens. But we're only going to demand one thing from you. And that one thing that we are going to demand from you is to say the investment, the investor's investments, must be mutually beneficial to you as an investor and to us as a host country. Specifically, we would really want to say that your investment must take the issue of local content seriously. It's through local content that we are going to have a dynamic country, which also, when you invest in a country or an economy that is more dynamic, your investment is going to be more profitable than when actually investing in an economy that is not really as dynamic as other economies. And we believe that it's through local content, value chain capturing, that our economy is going to make sure that it's resilient, the Namibian people are participant. As I've seen really a number of Namibian young people here, I'm sure they are thinking about what is that going to get out, what are we going to get out of this? And local content will be one of the issues that can answer that question. But certainly we want to welcome you, and just to know that, as I say, we are a serious partner, and we want to make sure that the investment will take place in an environment that is secure, in such a way that it can retain the desired return on that investment. And with that, I would really just again want to thank all of you, all the participants, especially the speakers, all those who have contributed. I think your contribution, your input has given us further insights as to how can we make sure that we achieve our dream of becoming a green hydrogen hub on the African continent. And we look forward to, again, you coming back and not only asking questions, but this time, when you come back, you also bring the money that is needed with you so that we can start making the investment. So with that, I would then officially want to declare the conference officially closed, and to look forward to the day when we can say this is green hydrogen that is produced from Namibia, and it was produced by an investor who is sitting in this room today in a couple of years to come. So thank you very much.